Hey guys, welcome to the PPL, of course. Happy Friday to everyone. Paladins Premier League. I am so ready to get into this next set as well. I'm your host, Fawn. Very, very nice of you guys to all stay tuned and stay watching, of course. But, of course, I'm here with Kresnik this time. Well, not this time. Well, I'm here with Kresnik now, actually.
Well, I mean, it is definitely a time.
Well,
I would
yeah.
say you are here with me this time, and I'm glad to be up here for this game. Last time we saw it, it was the result was, I think, a little bit different than some people expected.
Yeah, I mean, especially after yesterday, I mean, like, what you were expecting a little bit from Renegades is that, unfortunately, they did end up losing very, very badly yesterday to their opponents right there, to Kanga. And, I mean, the thing was that last time, and what's interesting is that despite that, this matchup, like you said, Kresnik, is a little bit different because last time Renegades played Natus Vincere, they won.
Yeah.
Which was a lot of people weren't expecting that or never expected to hear that sentence happen ever.
I mean, think about the interview we had with the Renegades. Even they weren't expecting it to happen. I think Invocal said something like, "Yeah, I woke up that day. I was ready to go into the studio and lose, but it ended up turning around." And I think honestly, that lack of pressure is what could help them the most in this game. I mean, going into the game against Kanga yesterday, you'd think maybe they're saying, oh, this is a team we should beat, could beat. Kanga, maybe we've had a rough start of things and we can take it. Now that Renegades is heading up against, the first-seeded team, that pressure could be gone. They could just be saying, let's just play our game.
Yeah.
And I think their game is interesting. It's kind of variable. When they're firing on all cylinders, they definitely do some interesting things, and they can play really well around each other, but they really need to not kind of get caught up in each other's heads. They definitely have to execute on what their plan is actually heading into the game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking about different players who it is that can execute, and really just looking at this man right here, Shadow, of course, being one of the damage players on the side of Renegades. I mean, his performances are nothing short of pretty good, let alone amazing. I mean, between him and Invocal, both of them are definitely doing their thing. I mean, they work them. I mean, they work the characters it is that they have so well. 1,052 kills, 79,000 damage, 1.9 KDA. I mean, once again, these guys do really well, and despite what the Renegades, what you might think due to the standings and their performances, these guys aren't bad players. They're good at the game. They're definitely good at the game.
Yeah, for sure. Shadow, a very flexible player too. Also kind of a last-second addition at the start of Phase 1 to this team. Definitely had plenty of time to gel by now, but he was kind of thrown in to replace Loki. Had some complications, team wanted to make some changes, and I think he opened a lot of things up for them. They never really had like a solid EV player before that. And
right.
He brought in that flank flexibility that I feel like they were kind of lacking. And I think he's definitely been shown to be a stalwart member of this team. The DPSs, both of them on this team, have been phenomenal, I think, throughout the season, regardless of the record.
Yeah, I mean, well, of course, we can't talk about one without talking about the other. Mention their name, they will appear, of course. Natus Vincere is their opponent.
3 times in the mirror.
Yeah, say it 3 times in the mirror, and then Lazy shows up right behind you, right? But in this case, I mean, Natus Vincere, this is their opponents. I mean, they're nothing short of great as well. I mean, already at the top of the sea, being able to take that spot away from NIP. They've been working really hard. They've definitely been doing their thing as well. I mean, there are so many different times that we see them bust out this triple DPS comp. They bust out so many things that we aren't used to seeing. But at the same time, though, I mean, you can't talk about a damage player without talking about Ninu, in my opinion.
Yeah, he really brought... I was going to say, this roster's been together for so long. They've done a ton together, and they haven't made a change in a pretty long time since moving Lazy to tank. Ninu coming in is a huge deal. I mean, Creatives has been playing this game for a really long time, and he's been performing fantastically. Ever since his incredible rookie performance when he joined VP back in the previous, I think, 2018 PPL season, he's kind of been a name that's always been in everyone's minds. When he wasn't in the PPL, some people were kind of surprised, I think, with that initial VP rework of the roster. And now that he's back, he's definitely reminding everyone why he belonged here in the first place. Definitely very flexible. It also kind of allows the players to Mutsu to be a little more consistent. He doesn't have to switch to that Drogos anymore. Now Ninu can just play all of these blasters and leave things open for Na'Vi. They've already shown that it's made them a more flexible, more versatile team.
I mean, you give the Willow to Ninu, and of course, in my mind, I go, what are you thinking? Like, you give it to him, and immediately he starts showing you why not only you should ban the character, but let alone don't let him have it. I mean, he's such a very, very powerful player, originally coming from Sour Team, being brought on to Natus Vincere because he was scrimming with them a little bit, and then eventually they decided making him a mainstay, and I think that was an extremely good move to find someone that ends up replacing creatives on Natus Vincere's side.
I mean, Nino was definitely the best choice, I think,
Right.
from EU. When I heard about the retirement of creatives, or creatives
Yeah.
wanting to step away from the scene, my first thought was it had to be Nino, or you pull Anza Doodle back out of the tank role, put him back in the blaster position, which he was comfortable with. But Nino, clearly the right choice, fit the team very, very well. And it's played a lot into how they've been drafting too. They kind of went back to standard, reminding everyone how darn good they are.
Right.
Being able to play those 2-2 after they kind of forced triple DPS for the start of the phase, lost a couple games maybe because of that. Renegades versus them earlier in the season being one of them potentially. Now moving back in with this rejuvenated roster, it really will. It's going to be a good show of how much they've improved or how much they've changed their priorities in draft and in everything with this new player.
I mean, of course, on the flip side, though, it's really just a matter of, can the Renegades be able to clutch out another win against Natus Vincere? I mean, it was to the surprise of everybody, not only here in the studio, but everybody watching at home, of course, too. I mean, Renegades is able to bring out a win that really just seemed impossible for them. You wouldn't have thought that they would have been able to beat Natus Vincere. So it's a matter of not only are they going to be able to try and win this, but to see if they can learn from what happened yesterday and try and improve on that and really bring out something and give everybody, and not only themselves, a chance at life and give everybody a good show, of course.
I think there's a lot to pull away from them from yesterday, too, at least in the way that Kanga drafted. I think it almost hard countered them moving in. And I know, I mean, again, I've mentioned this before, I'm roommates with Hero.
Right, yeah.
All of Renegades was in my apartment last night, all crammed into Hero's room, watching the VOD from yesterday. So I know they were at least looking at everything, getting themselves prepared. It's going to be tough, though. I mean, even with that previous win, they still are kind of facing the Natus Vincere mountain that is this top-seeded team. Maybe not the #1 team in the league. People kind of can contest about Virtus Pro and how well they've been playing, but clearly making a statement for how good they are, setting themselves up for their rematch with VP when that does happen. It's still going to be an insanely difficult game for them heading in.
Yeah, I mean, like, once again, Viral? Hey, you all right there? You okay? Anyway.
They actually all walked on my stream last night doing that behind me. They opened the door to my room and all came in, but like that in my background. So, I don't know. They're just, I guess, trying to calm themselves down, cheer themselves up. They definitely want to be in the right mindset for sure heading into this game, because even with that last win after yesterday, there's got to be a kind of mental reset they have to take.
Yeah, I mean, and once again, I actually believe the last time it was they ended up beating Natus Vincere, I believe that was like that they still had creatives on their team, didn't they? Yeah, so this is them fighting the new and improved Natus Vincere, and I mean, man, they have their work cut out for them in this match today. I mean, once again, the addition of Ninu has brought so many good things, and also like just, I'm not gonna say like hard carries, but there are a lot of times where he's doing like so much that it's so hard not to notice. Not necessarily that he's bringing up the rest of his team, but just the sheer fact that he's like the star player it is that he is. It's going to be really hard for Renegades to be able to adapt to that, especially since, like I said, the last time they won was when they had creatives on the team. So I'm interested to see how Renegades is really going to try and adapt to this new situation.
I think a draft style they could do is maybe that point tank focus. We've seen it just a little bit that they've been doing for now. We'll see if they maybe try to choke that out from either team. It's a really important role. They got a lot of options. There's plenty of things they can do heading into this draft.
Right, exactly. I mean, I entirely agree with that. However, guys, we are experiencing a little bit of a few issues here, technical issues. We're going to throw it right to a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Still count wins when they got it. Off record, I let them take advantage. I was wildin'. Off record deals. Tell them talk to Colin for the quote. Off record, I still want to act, not the ghost. For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, you ain't trying to grow, they ain't stunned for you. For the record, lab on me going all the way. For the record, ain't trying to make no time to waste. Running through it with the young influence, adolescent presence, I'm succumbing to it. I've been giving yeses when I shouldn't do it. I complete ejected, but the moves elusive, and I'm barely moving, but I'm still gon' boost them. I can't work on winners when I know you're losing, so I work the winners and they throw the deuces. Guess I had to pivot, shooting no bazookas for the facts. I need racks, paper, cash, buck attacks. That's a joke. Tell them laugh. Uncle Sam, buck out the bag. Brody plot, forget a whack. Contract, give me the max. I got lab on my back. You ain't that, then it's raps. Whoa. For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, you ain't tryna grow, they ain't stunned for you. For the record, lab on me going all the way. For the record, ain't tryna link no time to waste. facts. I need racks. Take a cash, fuck a tax. That's a joke. Tell him laugh. Uncle Sam, fuck out the bag. Brody block, but get a whack. Contract, give me the max. I got laugh on my back. You ain't that, then it's raps. Whoa, whoa, whoa. For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, you ain't trying to grow, then it's done for you. For the record, lab on me going all the way. For the record, ain't trying to link, no time to waste.
Hey guys, we're back. We decided to do a little bit early, but right now we're looking at Mr. Viral right here.
Is that Viral?
I actually can't tell. It's like a version of like, who's that pro player?
I can only tell by his Gucci glasses that he's wearing.
the big.
No, those are literally Gucci glasses.
Are they actually?
When he was in my room yesterday, I'm like, what? Where did you get those? How did you end up with those? But that's clearly why that's the only part of his face he's showing off right now. And
don't touch me.
Seems
These
very
glasses are Gucci.
he's very comfortable, clearly, and hopefully he's going to look comfortable once we actually get into game between these two of them, because that's going to be important. Viral, he's pretty flexible, but he definitely wants to be on characters that he's used to and comfortable with.
Right, exactly. I mean, of course, we're going to take a look at the map ban, see where it is that they're going to be gotten, what maps we're not going to be playing on today, which are both Frog Isle, Ice Mines are going to be the first two that we're going to be going for, and then Warder's Gate, Frozen Guard are what they are going to finish on. All four bans are completely out there, and just as those bans are gone, we're going to get right into the maps and see what we're going to be looking at for game one. Stonekeep, okay.
Definitely a comfortable pick for Renegades, them being first pick here. Makes sense, something that they've won on before. A really influential map, I think, in their last matchup versus Na'Vi, so makes sense why they'd want to go there. Willow banned early, something that we didn't see a lot yesterday. Ninu looking very comfortable on that character across the board. Eevee also banned, so some targeted play by Renegades, but I feel like Ninu's shown enough flexibility where this might not be the best decision.
Right, exactly. I mean, they get rid of the Willow, they get rid of the Eevee. Makoa's banned on Navi's side. Of course, I imagine they're going to stick to the same old bans they want to. They're probably going to try and opt to get rid of the Atlas, or they might not, but I feel like that personally would be an Atlas ban, just right there.
Yeah, you don't want to give them Atlas first pick without really having a proper response. The Koa ban kind of stuck Na'Vi in that they really had no other choice, and may have picked early, so choking out the flex role, getting a character that either of their DPSs can play, and then just not allowing them to have that many options on Navi's side. But Bomb King and Drogos are still open, and they're both fine on this map, so kind of interesting by them. I wouldn't be shocked to see if they do take it here, but they want to go for their premier off-tank and the direct damage because of all the focus that Renegades had on the other roles. They want to get the strongest ones that they can in what's left from the ban phase.
Right, of course. I mean, they're already starting off pretty strong, in my opinion, on Navi's side. The Khan, Cassie being the second and third pick, respectively. And I mean, once again, that opens up the door for so many other possibilities for Renegades to be able to try and go for. Same thing for Na'Vi. Both teams are really versatile. We're already looking at the Barrack. Barrack's locked in. We're also looking at the Genos, that Luminary buff. It's going to mean a lot for Barrack. It's going to mean a lot for Maeve. Na'Vi, really, they're just open up here. And I mean, the Cassie's already a problem that they would have to deal with. But Maldamba, Inara. Okay, so they're just getting the frontliners out of the way. Of course, that leaves, I believe, Barrack Ashe open for Renegades, right?
I believe so, yeah. That's what they're going to probably end up with. I was going to say that Renegades are picking this to try to force Na'Vi out of the triple DPS composition, but that's just their flavor of the month. Historically, in Nara Khan, super sustaining tanks, this is what Na'Vi want.
Right.
And it's interesting that Na'Vi have this ability to pivot between these two very distinct compositions, both of a similar style, but completely different champion picks. Makes it so hard to outdraft them. Renegades have a plan coming in here, but Na'Vi seem like they're already kind of ending up on comfort. We'll have to see if Renegades maybe end up with a triple DPS. I could see them picking like Leon Drogos to end this out. Drogo spams the point. Leon plays on the stairs. Maeve does whatever she wants. That would be one way to deal with this, because you could try to focus on the point. It's one option. Otherwise, they could kind of get that Ashe. Maybe, I don't really think a second flanker probably would be just Ashe Leon, and then force the issue with the Ashe to let their DPSs take some extra angles.
Right, I agree with that. I mean, once again, being able to try and come up into this already tightened of a team on Natus Vincere's side. I mean, Khan, Cassie, Maldamba, Anara, you've got Sustain out of the wazoo right here on Navi's side. I mean, Ash, you are correct. They are trying to go for that. They're trying to make sure they can pick that one up. And I was actually about to mention the BK. Yes, I feel good about that one because I was thinking about that in my head. I was thinking the BK would be good into Navi's team. And I see the BK, I see the Ash, so I feel that's +1 for Fawn right there.
Khan is pretty great at getting destroyed by BK. I was trying to say BK is great into Khan, but I had to pivot that somehow. BK is really good into the Khan, able to spam above the shield with Royal Subjects, do a lot of damage that way. I think Navi will just end with a Drogoz at this point.
Probably.
I mean, no real hit scan coming out from Renegades. Yes, the Maeve can kind of deal with it, especially when it's Invocal playing it, but it's not super consistent, and they'll be able to just have this kind of high ground potential, or just use the Combustible to own the inside of Keep because of how powerful Renegades comp will be at fighting Keep. I mean, Ash, BK to fight that, Barrack Maeve to kind of play outside and flank, but Drogoz, again, no counter. Combustible will kind of reign almost free unless Invocal can just hard focus him. And again, I don't put that out of Invocal's lane of possibility. He's so good at this game and so good at being able to do these crazy plays, but just the consistency of Drogoz against everybody else is going to be really hard for Renegades to match.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a lot more difficult, especially if Renegades are really trying to control Keep. They really can just have Drogoz pretty much just spit and Keep, fire that off. If he's going Combustible, then that's going to be a lot harder for them to deal with. But quickly, whose comp do you actually like more? Who do you think can end up like taking this one on paper?
I got to say Na'Vi, because Renegades picked and banned 4 blasters, and Na'Vi still got Drogoz. That's not what you want to see.
Well, I mean, you hate to see it happen, but once again, it's on paper. It looks great. However, we don't know yet because the game hasn't even started. But you know who will start the game? The casters.
Well, I physically can't press the go button.
Go press play.
Yeah, hold on. I'll be right back. No, but you do come to us before we go to games, so in a weird roundabout way, you're right. We do start the game. Dolson Gormizer starting things off here. Renegades versus Na'Vi. Tough is an understatement for the day the Renegades had yesterday. Side note, back to Spunky. He either has the rage screaming into the camera or like yawn wiping my face intro.
That's actually, what you see is him pumped to go play WoW, as he said in his thing, and now him after he stayed up way too late.
Right.
Playing anything else, not prepping for Zero. Got to get onto it.
If you look at this matchup, tough again. It's an understatement for the day the Renegades had yesterday. 0 points, not maps. 0 points. 4-0'd 4 times yesterday. Natus Vincere 4-0'd Envy, so an easy day for them. On paper, if that's kind of the route we're going, looks like Natus Vincere are going to be out and ready to play some more WoW if they continue their play from yesterday. If Renegades don't make some changes, but early trades, a double for Viral, has the Renegades in a great spot just now, taking over the point. Lazy throws up the wall to try to stay alive. Shadow with a double. First kill for Na'Vi is Mutu, and on the point first are the Renegades.
Also, in theory, any single point Renegades get throughout this entire set is going to be better than anything they were able to do against Hangy yesterday. But the biggest thing about this is looking at the history of it. I mean, the last time these two met, Renegades were able to win 4-2. But it just doesn't make sense at any point in time. There's nothing about it that lines up. This is a 1 versus 8 matchup. And Ninu kind of showing up to show us that they're going to play like it right now.
It's top versus bottom, through and through. Moontrapper's able to get the kill onto Spunky. Nobody on the point right now, 63-33. Hero, honestly, I think one of the more underrated point tanks in this league. So good at the game. He's going to have a tall task ahead of him trying to counteract what Lazy brings to the table. The Bomb King starting to hit his stride for Shadow. 78%. Ninu trades back as well, fighting tooth and nail for point number 1 of the day. Dragon Punch ripping through. Seismic Crash as well. That's a big double kill. Through time and space goes just wide. Natus Vincere with the 2 picks. Viral is forced back. Na'Vi back on the point as the Renegades go searching for one more fight.
We talked about it yesterday, we talked about it earlier today, but getting the Dragon Punch, getting out with your life, and staying alive throughout the fight is the biggest value you can get from that ult. And right now, that's exactly what he's done. He's still up in the air, looking to get some damage here from Invocal. Actually, Lazy going down, that might open it up.
A double kill for Shadow, especially with Spunky being dead. Make it 3 for the Bomb King, maybe 4. Renegades, point number 1 in 2 days. They get themselves on the board first, and already a different RNG from what we saw yesterday.
I mean, improvements. I don't know what it is about them and Na'Vi. Maybe they have that confidence now. They're like, you know what? We did it once. Let's do it again.
The Renegades have absolutely had a tumultuous couple of splits. But I feel like they've never, I mean, they literally never have lost as bad as yesterday. They've certainly been 4-0'd, but not 16-0'd. I think yesterday was like the extreme off day for the Renegades and a great day for Kanga. I think if you replay yesterday's match 10 times, that happens like once. Maybe they lose the majority of them overall set-wise, but I don't see a 16-0 happening
more than once
or twice. So it doesn't surprise me so much seeing the Renegades coming out swinging. Lots to prove. I know we were talking to Kresnik. They went back yesterday, did VOD review, watched over the entire set from yesterday. So this is still a motivated team and a team that, you know, they beat Na'Vi, like you said, the last time they played. So they'll look to replicate that today.
Well, King Bomb doesn't have the turn radius that you want for it, and so right now Shadow is kind of taking a scenic route through the map, showing off Stone Keep. Here you have the staircase. Around here, there's a tree. Looks really good. Doesn't accomplish too much in terms of get some nice music playing throughout the map, but it doesn't matter. They're still finding themselves some kills. Moonchopper with a nice little up-down up top keeps Phoenix on his toes as well.
Some kills. They're finding them all. Mutu's going to stagger himself. The payload's march continues here. Natus Vincere have some peel, some ultimates ready to go. 48 seconds left. Renegades only with the Midnight. Could put themselves up 2-0. Doubling what they were able to accomplish yesterday. 40 seconds left, so Natus Vincere in a bad spot. They're going to throw the Grumpy Bomb down. Dread Serpent flies, maybe catches out Moonchopper, gets the rocket boots out as well from Hero, forced under the staircase. So a good start to this defense. One ultimate used, 4 ultimates waiting in the wings, and a good stagger onto Shadow as well. And you really look for this Drogoz to try to control some of this airspace. Ninu was able to find some good kills, but not quite as much impact until up to this point in this defense.
And I'm kind of wondering, you know, how much of that is, you know, the first round, Suite of Ults coming through.
Yeah.
I mean, Dread Serpent, Seismic Crash, very good at controlling the pace of the game, and Dragon Punch helps get rid of Hero and maybe causes a lot more disruption there for the Renegades. But you can't overlook King Bomb Midnight. You have these certain dominance coming back up, theoretically, before the, well, not before the round ends, as the overtime's sticking through right now. But it's still really good, it's really close for the Renegades.
Big salvo. Dome Shield for Hero. Keeps the rest of Natus Vincere at bay. He's looking to find Ninu. Finds the last shot. A double kill from Spunky is all Natus Vincere need. They use the Dread Serpent. That's it. The Renegades strike first. Big mid fight for them. Gets them on the board.
Unfortunately for them, they don't have quite as many ults going into this round. Dome Shield being used at the very end might be the most telling of all of it. A really good King Bomb and showcasing the moments, I guess, both of them. That one, brilliant. Gets you exactly what you need, sets you up for a really solid triple kill. And then about 35, 40 seconds later, one that just kind of zones, as a zoning ult, as we would like to call it, but you know, sometimes you also have to call it what it is. He missed and didn't get the turn he wanted to. But that's at 90%, so he'll have that. They're going to have through time and space. They're going to get the Midnight. And while they have the direct counter for the Midnight, at least in terms of vision, will at least give a little bit of an advantage to maybe lock them down.
There's your scout. Seismic Crash as well from Lazy. Goes to the high ground, locks up Moonchopper. Kill not falling just yet, so he must have been able to get out just for a second, stalls out his life. There's the kill. Overpower as well onto Shadow. He had a huge mid-fight, 9, 3, and 5 prior to that overpower, so important to kill off the Bomb King, and now the rest of the aggression falls. 75% already. They just stuck Lazy, they stuck, excuse me, their Khan on the point, and the rest of them were just fighting forward. No chance for the Renegades, just a couple ultimates fall. Natus Vincere, they get their first mid of the set.
Phoenix is just hanging out back there, doing whatever he can do. And, I mean, that was pretty much clean control through and through. And now you have maybe making it through, getting bursted down by Mutu before Invoker can do anything. Viral's able to pick up a kill. They find the picks, but very akin to, I want to say, impromptu with Renegades fashion. It's too late.
Well, they get some kills.
Yeah.
I do get some kills here.
All I can think of is Phoenix's quote. I think it was the first time these two played, or maybe it was the second time. where he said they are playing team deathmatch. Like, they're getting a lot of kills. They look really good in that aspect. But at the end of the day, how many objective points are you able to get?
Yeah, maybe you're winning the micro game, but the macro game, the overall arching storyline, the route, not in the Renegades' favor. Shadow's had a good start. King Bomb looking for something, finds nothing. Grumpy Bomb just for some peel. Fortunately, doesn't detonate that quickly. Shadow's dead as her dominance for Moonchopper peels back. A little bit of Natus Vincere's front line, but he's forced out of it. Seismic crash as well. Lazy's been so aggressive. Stuns up 2. Dome Shield drops out. Where's the rest of the follow-up, though? That's the question. Moonchopper's caught out. Commander's grab. Stops the shoulder bash in to the Dread Serpent. Lazy with the kill and Vocal with 1 as well. The gates are being stormed now. Spunky positioning very aggressively as Shadow starts to tee off from the high ground.
I mean, this damage is going to be good. Everyone's pretty low, Mutu. Just one bomb away from
have to
potentially
drop
getting
down.
knocked down. But yeah, someone has to come and stop this, and it's not looking good for your health bar. Your insurance company doesn't
Way
want to
too
cover your
staggered.
policy on that one.
Way too staggered. Calculated from Natus Vincere. I mean, Renegades come out of the gate very quickly, and everything since has been Na'Vi.
I don't know what those ults were.
Yeah.
There were 3 ults there at the end that I have no idea why they happened the way they did for Renegades. I mean, Shadow rolls forward with a King Bomb and kind of threads the needle. Like, Maldamba goes off to the right, Khan goes off to the left. He just hits the middle and doesn't connect on anybody. And usually you can chalk those up. I mean, yeah, the turn speed's not that great, so maybe you threw it out there thinking, yeah, we'll have some more time, keep it in overtime, I'll charge this back up. Then Moonchopper, in a very similar fashion, goes up, down, in the archway. Normally you let him through, like you fight that a little later in a different position.
Walk
And then
backwards.
Hero instinctively drops his dome shield, but nowhere near the objective, on the top of the staircase, and even then it doesn't save him for too long. It was 3 monumental game-changing ults that didn't do anything.
And not only do they miss there, they don't have them now. And Natus Vincere, while not being immediately ready, do have some ultimates that are ready to go. Overpower, good for a kill. Dragon Punch as well. And Dread Serpent charging quickly. Viral trying to put some healing onto Invocal, who's forced out. Scout, Midnight, both begin here. Lazy with the first blood onto Hero. A lot of frontline mitigation there. Mutu rounds the corner through time and space, rips through, finds nobody, but Viral positioning himself well to get some healing in. There's some good stickies as Shadow helps eliminate Lazy for the first time in a little while. The frontliners are Natus Vincere. They were 1 and 4. Good fire spit from Ninu. Cleans up Viral. Now the ultimates start to fly.
I mean, Viral got read like a book in that scenario. That was perfect from Ninu. Good control, 90% here, even with comeback mechanic. Na'Vi have such a lead, and they are in control.
Yeah, not a chance. Na'Vi are going to seal this one up. Good patience on the ultimate. Honestly, they kind of the opposite of what we saw from the Renegades. They held on to Dread Serpent, Overpower, and Dragon Punch until the end of that mid-fight. I mean, it's kind of that back and forth where you say, do we want to use them right off the bat and win, and hopefully we zone till the end, or do we try to win first and then seal things up with the ultimates? Na'Vi did the latter and win 4 straight points there. Renegades at least get on the board in this game, but Na'Vi showing their power.
It's that conversation, and I mean, it's been this conversation for 2 years. It's, do you throw them out when you get them? Do you hold on to them and hope you find the right moment and end up not using them for 2 or 3 rounds? Like, you have to find that right pacing of when to drop your ult, and Na'Vi had it. Renegades were a little too willing, I think, to throw them out there.
Well, they get a point, don't get a win just yet. Renegades searching for their first win, their first map win this week. Find out if they can do it in just a sec.
SteelSeries, the official peripheral provider of the Paladins Premier League.
back, guys, to the PPL. Of course, it was a very, very positive match for Renegades at first. They did manage to cap 1 point. However, Na'Vi quickly turned that thing around in favor of them. 4-1, already the first map being in their favor on Stone Keep. And I feel like they had a lot of opportunities. At least Renegades looked like they were looking really, really good. Definitely looking better from yesterday in this point. And I mean, of course, but Na'Vi are Na'Vi. Like, at the same time, they were able to adapt, and they flipped that script real quick.
It really was, I think, almost a symptom of the draft. The play from Ninu, very hard for them to deal with. Invocal did a good job at the start, and Shadow had a monstrous performance to begin that game, but definitely hard to turn it around. I will say, though, I mean, 100% increase in success from yesterday is not something you could ignore for Renegades. Hopefully something that they can ride and maybe change things a little bit as it goes on. Looking at the slash lines and numbers, though, I mean, the damage pretty sided, I feel like, at least on the DPS side, towards RNG. They were finding these damages, but they just weren't finding these, like, objective captures as the game was going on.
Well, I mean, this is certainly a start for them because now they're going to be able to find out what they did this match and really rectify that. But they were already doing pretty good as it was, so it's not too bad for them. However, of course, you can't, like, I'm always thinking about which player on Na'Vi, or at least what person is always really good, shines to me. Of course, it has to be the support. It has to be Spunky.
Yeah, we don't. I like talking supports because even though the stat line wasn't really there, I felt like everything he was doing was really solid in general about hitting these heals, getting this damage out consistently. Ninu, of course, had the flashy, kills. Muti found kills on the Cassie as well, but just knowing how to be here, knowing when you can shoot instead of heal, knowing how to use your cooldowns, it's tough. Balancing all that in the support is difficult. He even had a Dread Serpent on the point at the end, just being kind of in that go to the office, clock in, type of the computer a little bit. Hit the Dread Serpent on the point when I have to. You have to play the character enough to know when to do that. And Damba kind of shifting out of the meta a little bit, but Spunky played it enough, knows how to play it even when the resilience might be kind of knocking him back a little bit.
Well, we'll have to see if they want to draft the Damba once again into this next map coming in for Game 2. We'll have to see where they're taking us this time. We're going to a trip to Jaguar Falls.
Yeah, interesting map. It's Navi's pick. We're going to a more standard thing. Yesterday we saw some Moji here.
Okay.
I was ready for your response. I figured it would be a little more excited. I mean, it's you. It's like, what? I know you were here, but I just...
Well, yeah, that's
just a reminder I thought would be enough, honestly, for you. Navi,
I'm not that crazy. I'm not that crazy about it.
Navi banning out Willow and Khan, so off tank and blaster priority between them. Both power tanks banned for Renegades again. You kind of get shoehorned into that if you start with a Makoa ban. Cassie coming out for Navi, though, so very powerful backline. Did pretty well for them on the last map. Definitely a good start to the draft for them.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, having that Cassie, of course, you're going to have that big game, and it's going to make the life hell for anybody that's on the point. Like, just whether you're a frontliner, whoever you are, you can be bursted really quickly. So, of course, RNG have to draft that knowing how they want to approach this first pick, Cassie. I mean, of course, we can see a frontliner and a support. We've seen that before, but, I mean, the very first few picks, I mean, I'm just trying to think about who they might try and go. They might try and lock in a frontliner, try to be a strong point presence like Barrett.
Yeah, Barrick definitely a better pick into Cassie versus Inara, so smart to get that. I think Hero actually played pretty well on the Barrick too. Was able to stay alive through some pretty strong pressure. So definitely a good start for them. And Genos will be the follow-up. Very solid on Jaguar Falls, able to heal through all the walls across the point. Damage boost to Barrick. And again, kind of take away some of the options for Na'Vi to go triple DPS, but on this map, I think you can almost get away doing it with Grover. I mean, just you're close enough where you can just play off of the sustain and kite ability of the triple DPS as opposed to just the raw damage point spam.
I agree with that. I mean, having that capability to be able to just group up and just death ball your way through different types of compositions and just steamroll, use that advantage that you can with the Grover. That could be very, very big. I mean, I too could see if they really wanted to go for it. I've seen Ying brought out on this map sometimes, not as often, but of course she is a presence that can be used.
You are not welcome here.
Nara, though, go for Ashe. They want to lock in that double front line. They want to secure their front line so that way they can draft the rest of their picks around that.
Smart by them, because it also chokes that Moonchopper a little bit. Not as many options up for him. Renegades could still go triple DPS. They have Barrick and Genos. That's one of the best start of any to a composition like that. But now Moon will be stuck on something like Ruckus, Nando, Terminus. Not necessarily bad, but definitely more of a flex for him, I would say. So that's a pretty smart start to this by them. Renegades grabbing Maeve again, and this could be tough into the Cassie. These are two characters that really don't have the best time into a big game Cassie.
Right.
We know how hard that Ruckus gets shredded, and the Midnights weren't really hitting last game because of the scouts from Mutu.
Yeah, I mean, like quickly, can you tell me like what would be going through your mind as to why you would draft the Ruckus Mave? Do you see potential for it to be at least effective against what Na'Vi have, even though Cassie's one of Ruckus's biggest counters?
Depends on the last 2 picks. I mean, if the last 2 picks are hard countered by the Ruckus, then yeah, that's an option. If the Ashe goes in, you can kind of play the Ruckus to counter dive and just hard focus him down. That's a choice, but Na'Vi are going to be playing together. That Ashe isn't going to be going in alone. The reason why Rhino's Ruckus kind of tore apart Renegades yesterday was because of how far ahead the rest of his team that Moon was in trying to make these aggressive plays. They still, and they're also kind of stuck. I mean, what else do they pick? It's either Nando off tank, which is okay, not great. Term off tank, I mean, I'm the Term defender. I'm here for it, but I don't know how he played here. And Na'Vi kind of repeating their draft from last time. Zomba Moji. Repeated Zomba, and I'm mildly uncomfortable with that noise that you're making. Io's not here. You don't need to howl at any Moon. Shattered Goddess does not need to be called right now. Drogo's potentially the last pick for RNG, and I wouldn't be shocked to see Combustible coming out here too.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that too. I mean, once again, I talked a little bit about how I literally was in the same situation yesterday, about how I picked out the Drogue, ended up using the Combustible to be able to flush out those little smaller rooms. So I think the Drogos will work really well here too. I mean, it'll be a lot harder for both Cassie and Moji to be able to fight back against that Drogue. So I do like that pick as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Moji, they have a couple characters that are able to kind of get away from the Dragon Punch as it comes in. Ashe can dash away. Moji can use the Magic Barrier. I actually did witness Mutu yesterday do the Bunny Hop tech with the Scamper, so not super easy to do. Mutu was able to pull it off, which means he has definitely put that time into Moji. Drogos would be an interesting end here. It was good for Ninu last game, but against Renegades, against Na'Vi, excuse me, with the composition that they have, it might be tough. They have the ability to focus the point, but I feel like they won't really be able to focus the issue with the Ruckus Mave.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to be really difficult for them. I mean, like having that Cassie, of course, to be able to shut down that Ruckus, like on ground level, of course, Drogo's going to be firing down or really just trying to wait back. But I mean, that's going to be a lot harder for Renegades to be able to try and combat this already, because it seems like they've got their ground game under control. I mean, Drogos is a threat, but if he doesn't have a team, then literally what else can you do about that?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be looking for Na'Vi. I'm gonna be looking at the Moji specifically, because I feel like Renegades, the picks for the Moji aren't great. She's going to have some trouble, I think, in these fights, but if anyone can pull it off with how well I saw the Moji yesterday, it's going to be Mutu.
100%. I'm all okay with this. Game 2 on its way.
You know, of course Fawn's okay with it. He gets a little Moji in Game 2, and something Natus Vincere felt pretty comfortable with. And, you know, the question is always, are they winning because of the Moji, or are they winning despite the Moji? And got a little of both, I think, over the course of the data that we have for Na'Vi. This is the second time this split, I believe, and maybe the third or fourth time overall. And honestly, kind of right down the middle, where they've sometimes won despite having the Moji kind of be mediocre, but they've also won with the Moji on their team. I'll be interested to see the loadout as well. A lot of self-sustain, I imagine. That's kind of what she brings to the table.
Also, if I remember correctly, this is the team that has only won with her. I think another team has picked her up. I can't remember who off the top of my head, but it did not work out well for them. But yeah, you can see while below 50% health, you get 50% increased healing. Magic Barrier is going to be able to heal you. Your cooldowns are going to be reduced whenever you get an elimination. Just everything to keep you alive along with your lifesteal. It's just rush them down, kill them dead, and don't die doing it.
Might die doing it right here. Moonchopper is able to return some good damage. Magic Barrier. All that healing, there you go. Forces the Ruckus back. Typical Natus Vincere fashion has them on the point first. Mutu looking to get aggressive. Magic Barrier gets him back to about half health. One more mark detonation will do it, but Viral was there. Makes it a 2v1 for the Renegades. Gets them the lead in this fight.
I genuinely think it was very close to call, and you could see maybe his health dropping a little too fast, but I think Mutu could have come out on top there. I think he actually would have been able to get rid of Moonchopper, so it's good on Viral for rotating over to save him. But in the meantime, Na'Vi were able to pick up 60%, so it's not losing too much objective-wise as he respawns and comes back into the fight.
Look for one more engagement. Arguably the best Ruckus skin, in my opinion.
2 hooks.
Moonchopper is rocking it right now, and that's off to Ruckus if he can control the robot with that efficiency with a couple hooks for hands. And he's got it going on there. 1-for-1 trade. Mutu wins that one. No Viral to help out this time as he continues his tear in and through. No, not much healing there. Through time and space, catches out one, but it doesn't get the kill. A double kill from Ninu as he rounds the corner onto Viral. Natus Vincere running away with this fight and running away with point number 1.
And a snack time already connecting. That one's as good as an execute. Kind of fused. It's like a Dragon Punch fused with an evil mojo to get those coming through. You got to chase them down and you got to connect with them. But at the end of the day, you're still going to be able to just full-on munch whoever comes through. And now I'm going to make a segue back to it. The thing I love the most about that Ruckus skin is the little bobble parrot on the side right there. It's actually right above Moonchopper's camera. And it just shakes when he's in the Hexafire. It's fun to watch as he comes
We
through.
got one of those on the desk. The little bobble parrot.
We do have a little parrot.
Easy Ruckus cosplay for us as Moonchopper finds some space with his Hexafire here, so the Renegades at least start off pretty well on the defensive end here. And it's a good question they brought up on the desk. They didn't really have, the full duration of time to dive into it, but why? I mean, the Ruckus specifically, I think it has its value, but it's gonna have a tough game up against this Cassie.
It kind of feels like Moonchopper probably wanted Ashe, and then Ashe got taken away from him.
Right.
And it's just like, where is he comfortable? And that's one of the biggest win conditions for this team is just where is Moonchopper comfortable? Who can we put him on that's going to make him comfortable? A lot of the champions that we see other Octanes dominate on, you can't rely on him every game to hit with. His Ashe and his Ruckus, though, usually hit the marks.
Speaking of marks, Mutu detonates one for the kill onto Viral. Right back onto the payload go Na'Vi. Assert dominance was almost used by Phoenix, looking to up down the Dragon Punch. Shadow was able to connect regardless, so still at 100% cooldown, or 0% depending on how that works for Phoenix. At any rate, he uses it right there, stuns up Moonchopper, getting some good damage in onto Invocal, but Invocal with some sneaky daggers cleans up Ninu as Lazy throws down the Seismic Crash. Moonchopper with some good shield cooldowns keeps himself alive to the tune of a double kill. And maybe that's why you pick a Ruckus.
Does keep you alive, and in the split second you need it, that shield's going to be able to come down. But it doesn't last like that forever. Right now, 3-3-3 for him, 4-2-4 for Ninu, 4-5-4 for Mutu. The two that are probably going to be hunting him down, though, I wouldn't be surprised to see some Wrecker coming online, specifically for Ninu. And yeah, it's already at 2, same thing for Mutu. Because yeah, this round, it saved your life a few times. Next round, not so much.
So you think this is an early game Ruckus, but the further the game goes on, maybe a little bit more in danger?
I think he's going to be able to do the same amount of damage, and in the right positioning, Moonchopper's still going to be very prominent. But that shield's not going to save him. And a lot of these engagements where I've seen Renegades turn it around, it's that shield coming up and keeping him alive just long enough for someone else on the team to respond. Without that, or with it getting popped incredibly fast by either Mutu or Ninu, you're in a pretty comfortable position. But I will also give them the full credit. That was a good defense from them. They didn't have to use any of their ults in order to get it. So kind of on track with what they were doing wrong last map, they're doing right this time.
They're realizing their boundaries, realizing what they need to do to win a point. 5 ultimates strong for the Renegades. Seismic Crash down, as well as the Assert Dominance for Natus Vincere. Both teams are just going to start out kind of poking one another out, looking for a small advantage to take advantage of. Could be Flame Spit from Shadow. Watch out for a Dragon Punch as well. Dome Shield for the Renegades, for Hero. Back just a little bit. Keeps things just outside of contest range. That time's out. Mutu forced back as the Midnight from Invocal drops down. They're going to use that to just kind of back off a little bit as well. So now that's 2 ultimates from the Renegades that just go searching. There's the aggression. Natus Vincere starting to engage. That's a great wall. Blocks off Mutu from engaging in this fight. Viral misses with the through time and space.
Now that wall, I would argue, would be great if you were Renegades. Unfortunately, that was Lazy blocking Mutu off from the fight.
Yeah, wait.
I don't know what the concept was there, why that wall came up, or what it was trying to accomplish.
Good catch.
But Na'Vi, I mean, hey, they got 87%, so that at least gives them that control. Maybe a couple of slip-ups, I'm not sure. It was a great block,
Here's me
though.
in the moment. There's no way that could be on his team because of how good of a wall
that had to be blocking. Like, for a block onto Mutu, that was fantastic.
Well, Lazy's going to try to make good. They capture the point. Double stun just to lock up a couple. none of this matters, except for maybe the direction the payload starts, because Natus Vincere seal things up. No contest from the Renegades, and 2 points for Na'Vi.
And there are 5 of them there. They get a kill on Mutu like it's a 4v5.
I was ready for the fight.
And Lazy just kind of wandered onto the point and was like, huh, guess I'll take a payload. Like, I mean, I don't know if it's the only thing the store's selling. Guess I'll go ahead and pick it up. 6-1 and 6 for Shadow, and it kind of does feel right now that maybe if he's not fully invested in the fight, or if maybe he's distracted off of the point, he's not going to be able to be there to collapse, connect, and help demolish the rest of the team that is going to need maybe that assist from him.
This is a big double dive onto Mutu, and Vocal gets them both. Na'Vi still fighting, 3 of them together around this backside. Ninu looking for the dodge roll, gets out of flame spit range, and now he can find the damage onto Shadow, stagger out the Renegades just a little bit further, and as great as things looked around the left-hand side of the map, Natus Vincere stuck together as 3. Ninu, Phoenix, and Spunky all together have kind of re-engaged and won the rest of this fight as the payload continues its march forward.
I mean, really good shots coming down as well from Ninu to kind of keep things rolling up. Mutu not playing an interesting angle here. But with Invocal getting that kill, he's at least going to maybe slow the roll down coming into the last quarter push here if you are Na'Vi. And I mean, they have assert dominance, so they want to be able to hold on to it, but Phoenix willing to kind of let this one go.
Lots of low targets here, and Mutu is now joining the fight, gets one, gets the other. That's a double kill for the Moji. Maybe one more, make it 3. Shadow misses the Dragon Punch. Mutu doesn't miss a shot. And Natus Vincere 1 point away from a 2-0 lead.
That's only so impressive because Lazy lives through that. And they kill Shadow while he's in the Dragon Punch. Like, it's just icing on the cake that is the push, right? Where it's just he's trying to go in, can't get through here. Lazy's over there. Oh, if I turn around this way, Lazy just turns around and walks the other way. Very good jukes coming down, forces Shadow to use that with the Dome Shield gone, with the Midnight gone. And, well, very opposite of what happened last time. Renegades are only coming to this with 2 ults.
Not a lot of damage for Mutu. And that's, I guess, kind of the back and forth of Moji, where you can get some good executes, but top damage only over the healer is not really what you look for out of your flex.
It's that awkward moment of not able to get a ton of poke. Like, can't show his face for too long. But if you give him the opportunity, he's going to kill you. Like, that, of the 40K he's done, I can guarantee 70% of it, 80% of it has probably been converted into a kill on the spot. But the rest of it's just poke, right? It's just, I'm going to hit you a little bit and then run away. Being able to do that. Snack time coming through over here, looking for the dog treat. But luckily, Resilience is going to get Moonchopper out of that one, at least for a little bit.
And a good wall from Lazy. Onto the opposite team this time, cleans up Hero. And that's what you kind of get. Mutu scampers in, tries to get something, unable to do so. Aggressive from Ninu, gets him a kill, gets him a death. 81% for Natus Vincere, might be able to seal up the game here. The rocket boots in from Hero, seismic crash from Lazy. They've been impactful this game. Is it impactful enough to find the win? Does lock up Hero, good Void Grip, picks up the Inara, but he gets the kill in midair. Invocal trades back, so Lazy is gone, but all you have left are your damage dealers to try to contest. You have no healing. If Na'Vi have themselves some damage, they might be able just to end the game. Mutu comes in, Mutu helps Ninu find the kill. Natus Vincere are going to run away with game number 2.
You really needed to, I think, be able to all focus on an individual target there, and there were just too many. They were swarming you if you're Na'Vi. Renegades, Shadow's looking left, Shadow's looking right, Shadow's getting kills and Vocals coming around the other side, but there was just not a single target in mind to control the objective. And once Hero dropped, it's like, okay, well, Moonchopper can throw his body down there, but we don't have enough tanks to do this. We don't have enough health bars to keep us rolling forward.
So, the question I bring up, did Na'Vi win despite the Moji or because of the Moji?
Despite the Moji. Well, I would
in
give
the middle.
I'd give it like a 75-25. Like, there were a lot of really good moments that Mutu had, but they only helped in those moments. The rest of the time, he was the distraction factor. So, like, it's in spite of, because the slash line, and I'm sure we'll see this, won't exactly showcase what his impact was. But if everyone's looking at Moji and trying to kill Moji, Ninu's over there free firing his Cassie, and he loves it.
That's right. He'll feel good about that one. Na'Vi will feel good about their second game in this set. Game 3 in just a sec.
iNap, powering the control room for the Paladins Premier League.
Welcome back in, guys. The second win for Natus Vincere in this case. Already up 2-0 against the Renegades. Renegades were bringing out the stops. They were doing pretty well, but at the same time, though, it's another 4-1 situation where Na'Vi just looked a lot better than not only we were expecting them to, but more than Renegades can really handle at this point.
Yeah, I think it was just a good start to the draft by Na'Vi, kind of just destabilizing the off-tank presence from Renegades, forcing him onto Ruckus, which, as we discussed, was a really tough matchup into the Cassie that they already had. The Moji too definitely showed up, I think. Struggled in the beginning, but really woke up, I think, as the game went on, able to find a lot of kills and just a really tough presence for them to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, once again, like the Cassie into the Ruckus was super difficult for Moon to deal with as well. I mean, that is his #1 counter. She was just making sure that his life was a living hell. Mutu, 10-9, 7-5 for Lazy, 3-5 for Spunky, 6-4 for Phoenix, and 7-6 for Nina. The slash lines all looking good for them, but Renegades were looking pretty good too.
I mean, in the beginning, Shadow was just on another level. I mean,
Yeah,
he died
again.
2 less times than Viral. Able to do a lot. One of the biggest moments for him, though, was getting shut down by Mutu. During that triple that he had at the very end, where as soon as he was about to get the punch, I believe, onto the Inara, just perfectly caught out. Again, Moji on Jaguar Falls. I have a feeling teams will eventually find other places that she's going to be viable, but as people figure out how her cooldowns work, kind of how they like to play and rotate around with her, she's such an interesting champion in that sense that like she just has Jag, but there's maps like Jag that she could be coming out on too.
Yeah, I mean, once again, Navi's really the only the only person that's really tried to draft Moji into a lot of the different compositions. And I mean, it's been working. They brought it out yesterday on Jaguar Falls. They brought it out today on Jaguar Falls. And once again, it proved to be something that people weren't expecting to see. But they brought it out, and it worked. And I'm happy with that.
And not only is it something that's not really playable everywhere, but it's something you also have to practice. I mean, flashback to week 1, I believe, of the PPL of this phase. Ricotta played Moji, and he held down both buttons.
Yeah.
and never got bonus damage on his shots because he hadn't played since the changes. Stuff like that. I mean, you have to know how the character functions if you're going to be able to make it work. Investing that time, it's a tough decision, but clearly for teams like Na'Vi that are willing to do these kind of out of the box strats, it's paying off.
I mean, they had ended up popularizing, at least in my opinion, this whole triple DPS composition, right? That was something they were known for quite some time. However, we're gonna take a look and see what we have in store for us in terms of the next map, just to see where we're going. Serpent Beach. So I mean, that's not too bad. But I mean, at the same time, though, I mean, Renegades, it's been 4-1, 4-1. We're gonna have to see where, I mean, if they're just gonna be able to win.
Yeah, it's a tough map too. It's definitely one that could go kind of slowly. It could be one that we don't necessarily see ending immediately, just because of how easy the defenses are on this map. Flankers, very high priority, so we could see similar bans. Renegades pulling out what they did in map 1 over here in map number 3. Now that they're down 0-2. Now, Na'Vi, again, kind of pigeonholing themselves into this. They're probably going to have to ban Atlas as well, so Renegades now are for sure what they're going to ban. Willow kind of just filling in that spot that Torvald left, that hole that was left by Torv. Now going to be permabanned a lot, which makes sense against Na'Vi, but they're so flexible that just getting rid of that, you need a plan, I think, specifically on top of just getting rid of that Willow from Ninu.
Yeah, I mean, they've banned the Khan, they've banned the Willow like several times already, but I mean, clearly it's going to take more than just those target bans. I mean, of course you don't want to give them the Willow. I already mentioned it before, very in the beginning, just briefly, about how Nino on Willow is something you don't want to see. You don't want to give him that character. But at the same time, though, they have to adapt to a little bit more than that on the Renegade side. I mean, on Navi's side, they've been sticking with the same bans, but Koa Atlas once again. Fight. Renegades are going to lock in Ashe, more than likely for Moonchopper in this case, in the off-tank role. But I mean, draft-wise, what do you think they would be able to pick to be able to try and like open the door, or is it really just all play for them?
On Renegades' side?
Yeah, Renegades' side.
I mean, Renegades have clearly been playing pretty well. I mean, just look at the DPSs. Right, they need to be more in sync with their tanks, and gonna be rough with the start by Na'Vi. Now Renegades are gonna have to play Inara Ashe. I think Hero has been a fantastic Inara throughout. He's had some really good plays like throughout the season on Inara, I feel, but it could be counterable by Cassie, still unpicked. If it gets to the next rotation of picks for Na'Vi and Cassie's still open, I would not be shocked to see Na'Vi kind of end up with this double backline plus Barrack focus on their poke and just melt down Renegades if they try to get aggressive with this Ashe, because they've already shown, like, when they have Ashe, they want to be setting the momentum. They want to be going in very quickly and it's tough for the rest of Renegades to keep up with the pace that Moonchopper tries to set.
Right, exactly. I mean, on Navi's side, they've drafted the Barrack, of course, strong point presence. They've drafted the Strix, something we don't see as often because certain teams are really just, they opt to pick that. Like PK picks it a lot more.
Welcome
few
to
other
the
people
Mean
as
Streets,
well.
kitten.
But Strix on Navi's side, they're going for the Maeve, they're going for the Cassie. It's going to be a little bit of a problem for the Barrack for, I believe, fighting into both of those characters, right?
Yeah, I was actually really nervous when they highlighted Maeve. I'm like, please, just do not give them Cassie again.
Oh.
I was so concerned, but they did go Maeve Cassie, which I think is smart. I mean, Maeve definitely better at winning those 1v1s versus EV. Cassie, we've already talked, I think, a ton about her impact on the game currently.
Right.
And what the impact would have been against the draft that they had if they decided to stick with it. Navi, though, I think they can mess with Renegades a little bit here. If they decide to go with the Inara Barrack, they could have a composition that locks them down when they try to go in and stops them from getting onto their Strix. They might go with the Nando instead, a little bit better paired with the Genos. That overtime healing pretty solid, I think, with Nando, combining with the Last Stand and the Formidable behind his shield to keep him sustained. Does give Renegades the point tank that they want for sure, which is going to be Inara. I fully expect Inara Fury to round out this composition for Renegades.
Right, yeah. I was actually about to bring up the fact that I thought that Furia was going to be something they might want to pick. I mean, they might want that aggression to try and counteract Navi, you know, being able to be more aggressive than Navi might be able to handle in this case. So I do like the Fury, of course, for healing. Inflame is always just really, really good. Nara, that strong point presence. Now, Navi, I would imagine, just me personally, I believe I'm going to put something on the table here that I believe that they might try and go for.
It is on the table.
Okay, it's on the table right now.
Yes.
Okay, well, I have to put two things on the table because now I don't know if I don't trust my first.
Oh,
opinion.
no. Okay, well, say it before they pick.
Okay. Evie or Leon? One of the two.
not
I'm thinking
welcome
Leon
here.
to try and deal with that Maeve and to be able to fight back against that Cassie in case she tries to rotate. But I'm also thinking Evie because I feel like that will be a lot of terror. Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say, it would much more likely be Evie because Strix will already kind of have that counter flanker pressure.
Right, exactly. Good point.
So having that in the Strix, then let the Eevee duel the Maeve, or just ignore the Maeve and try to play on that Furia. Furia has no way to make herself invulnerable outside of using the Inflame, so it's kind of tough to live through those dives. The raw damage from Furia is sometimes enough, but still tough. Gotta say, though, this is definitely the best draft Renegades have brought to this set so far.
Right, yeah. I mean, sure. I entirely agree with that. I mean, I do like the fact that Renegades have drafted the Furia as well to be able to use that Inflame, of course, to be that aggressor when they need to be. I feel like that suits them a lot. We've seen Viral bring out the Furia a couple times, and I feel like it's always worked for them, regardless of whether they win or lose. I mean, that Inflame just brings so much to a team fight.
If they can put all the pieces together, make that Inflame Midnight Scout aggression work, Renegades could put their first map on the table.
Well, we'll have to see if they can in Game 3.
I got a giant hill to climb here, and Navi is waiting at the top. Inflame is good, but is it beating Navi good? That's a whole nother question. Range advantage, I'll give it to the Strix. Sure, you have a Cassie, but you also have an Eevee that's going to be wreaking some havoc as well. Always something to look out for when Mutu is piloting the Strix. And, you know, Inflame is great. Luminary is pretty good as well.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, Luminary is going to be there more consistently, and that's going to be the problem. Is Inflame will win you fights once it's up. So late game, you expect round 2, round 3.
Yeah.
Renegades may be putting up a little bit more. We'll have to see what exactly they're able to accomplish throughout the first round. I also think it's interesting for Phoenix to have gone for the Fernando, just period. It's not something that we usually get to see too often. It's the Gingerbread Shield as he's rocking it. Now they're having to deal with the aggression. Well, they dealt with the aggression from Moonchopper.
Well, I remember in our post-game yesterday, I kind of asked Phoenix, because I'm trying to get the opinion of, nearly dashing into it there as in vocal, of the off-tanks on where the kind of frontline off-tank meta stands, and Phoenix, he seems to think that Fernando's really good, and I tend to agree with him. Some of the changes brought about have really allowed him to do kind of off-tank things. Big damage, big shields, big health. And if anyone's going to make it work, it's certainly going to be Phoenix.
So we actually looked at this loadout yesterday, and, you know, Towering Bear or Incinerate are kind of like the core of it. But I really like the Heat Transfer and Last Stand combination, as well as, I guess, you know, Running Start. You put your shield up. Every 1,000 damage your shield takes, you get a cooldown that resets your charge. When you charge, you get a shield being able to kind of keep you going, or Last Stand is going to be able to kind of keep you healthy while you have your shield up. And then your start movement, I mean, you're going to be running, and anytime you hit charge, all of a sudden you're able to either close the gap because you have 30% movement speed, or you get out of there faster because you have 33% movement speed. It's a really, really good combo. A really good loadout there from Phoenix, and it just synergizes really well with the playstyle he's been bringing to it.
I agree. That was sort of a point I was thinking about. I think Fernando's in a fine spot right now, but also Phoenix is one of the best off tanks we have. So you have to look at the way he plays it, and he can play it very, very well here. Big start for Natus Vincere. Win the first mid relatively convincingly. Haven't lost too many members on their side. 2 kills total for the Renegades. The offense continues here for Lazy. Into the back line he goes. Looking to kill off Hero. He's able to rocket boots his way out to safety. But the payload's moving forward this entire time. Burning away at Moonchopper goes Phoenix. Lazy finally gets the kill. And that is probably the quietest first round, but also not the quietest first round I've maybe ever seen. Natus Vincere, clean, calculated, push that payload through, and they go up 2.
3 total kills there for the Renegades. But it is Phoenix who's kind of making the splash right now. With Inflame next time around, we'll have to see how exactly Renegades are going to be able to reply. But, I mean, this guy on your screen right here is kind of not necessarily changing the name of the game, but they're adapting faster than other teams. That's kind of the moral, the story of this week, I would say, is are you going to be able to figure out X before the other teams? Is Y a little bit better?
Right.
Like, what do you know that they might not be able to adapt to? And right now, I think that is playing the kind of new and improved Fernando.
Yeah.
And, that's a question not only for this set, but we saw it in the last set, and I think we're going to see it in the next set, is just who knows what's going on right now a little more than the others.
Well, it seems to be Natus Vincere. I mean, damage is such a linear, one-dimensional way of kind of looking at the game that you have to take it with a grain of salt, take it in the bigger context. But, Viral was out damaging like 2 or 3 members of his team going into this one, notably the frontliner. So not being able to hold the same grasp that someone like Phoenix is, who's got the 4th or 5th highest damage in this game. Inflame up for the first time this game. The Renegades looking to capitalize. Dash from Phoenix gets him out of range. Hero gets a kill. That's all the Renegades are able to find. Some return damage would have pulled it even. Natus Vincere step off the point, 69% for themselves. Fast cap for the Renegades just now starting off. Immortal could be ready. Looking for that 1,500 health threshold for Phoenix. He rounds this waterfall side, and he's effectively 1v4ing this high ground.
So it felt like a solid 15 to 20 seconds before Renegades actually used the lead they got themselves. I mean, they were sitting there. Navi, Lazy died, and then no one touched the point. Not a single person on their team touched it, and then a few seconds later, they finally get on it. But now Lazy's back there, and he's at 90% and still rising.
And Invocal dies. Once that Assert Dominance times out, Moonchopper is going to be in some trouble. He realizes that, walks away. Good Void Grip from Spunky. All the dominoes falling for Natus Vincere here. Nothing tipping over for the Renegades except themselves. Natus Vincere now 1 point away from taking a 3-0 lead in this set. Serpent Beach has been nothing short of domination.
I mean, they have really, really good fights, really good moments, good plans, a good draft from Renegades. But that has to be some of the worst point awareness I think I've seen in a while. I mean, just ignoring the objective. At that point, Hero gets that kill, and you don't immediately move in, but within the first 5 seconds, you should be on there. That should have been at 25, 30%.
Yeah.
And then you start to see maybe Navi come back and contest it, especially with how much power they kind of garnished. They took the high ground away, and then they bit off more than they could chew, and they were kind of distracted. It did not vibe the way you see other teams vibe. They definitely understand the fight portion of it, but taking over the mid fight, it just seems to escape them.
These Natus Vincere frontliners are wreaking havoc on the Renegades. The more I see Phoenix play this Fernando, I'm buying in. I'm bought into the Fernando hype.
Oh yeah,
Maybe
I'm
not
taking this loadout later.
Maybe not in every single situation, but he's obviously viable in the right moments. Payload very, very close to ending this game. Phoenix yet again taking on a few members of the Renegades. Going to dash himself out, but there's a dome shield awaiting if the Renegades want to follow him up. Hero's dead. Midnight falls over the map. 2 members left for the Renegades here. They need to find a kill in this Midnight, but it's not going to happen. Phoenix is just able to out DPS. Natus Vincere run away, and a 4-0 victory puts them within 1.
I mean, just
I don't know.
steps at a time, right? And they put their right foot forward or their left foot, whichever one they really want to start on, and they've just been walking through the Renegades right now, and I can't think of many other ways to describe that. I mean, at the end, the only thing that was going through my mind was a quick of, okay, well, this 1v1's really interesting. Why isn't Phoenix using a shield? Oh, yeah, Pounce goes through shield. And by the time I finished thinking that, the game was over.
I don't know. That's tough to see. The Renegades, you know, a back and forth start, but a great start to this split. Just haven't been able to bottle up that same magic that they found that 1 week. They get 2 wins, one of them over Na'Vi. Just hasn't quite hit home. Back to the drawing board they go. Let's see if they can maybe turn things around in Game 4 in just a minute.
Alienware, the official PC provider of the Paladins Premier League.
And the reflecting memories. I need to figure out how things intertwine. The ropes are choking us. If only I could blow away the heavy clouds up in our sky. I see you. Can you see me too? Tell me how it feels to know that I cannot let you go. My veins, they are strained, 'cause my heart is blue for you. I would do anything just to have you once again. I've lost my weakness, only void inside my bones, paralyzed like a dog.
Welcome back in, guys. If you blinked, you definitely missed it. A 4-0 for Natus Vincere, already looking more than clean at this point. Looking like Mr. Clean entirely, the epitome of all cleanness in the Paladins Premier League already. I mean, once again, Renegades, they're trying their best to be able to fight back, but Na'Vi, they just haven't found an opening.
Was that a dig at Spunky,
Was it?
Mr. Clean?
Oh, because he's... Oh, okay. No, it was... No, it wasn't.
Oh, I thought that was the way you were going, but they did look.
No,
They
it
did
wasn't.
look really clean. I think they looked fantastic as that game was going on. Good end to the draft. Normally, I wasn't really doubting the off-tank Nando. I'm still not sure exactly what position he's going to end up playing in, but I think Phoenix played it really well across the board. I think Na'Vi played pretty well defensively, kind of baiting in the aggression from RNG. Shutting down a lot of the damage in general from RNG, and I mean, you can even see Lazy on the point, dominating that fight. I mean, out damaging his own Strix just to keep that pressure up. He ended up going 8-1 across the board. Moon and Invocal kind of high death count, but that's what you expect from the two characters in your team that are trying to set the pace.
Right, exactly. I mean, Lazy 8-1, Mutu 2-1, 0-2-15 for Spunky. Ninu 5-2, but of course Phoenix on the young Fernando at 5-2-7. Now Fernando, a character, got a little bit of a change recently. He got a new car, something that actually increases the shielding abilities that he has, right?
Yeah, well, now it increases the cooldown of his shield, or reduces the cooldown. Increasing would be a terrible card.
Oh yeah, that'd be awful.
It reduces the cooldown of his shield, allowing him to have it up a little more often. And I wanted to look at him specifically because of where Nando's kind of been, and the fact that Nando's been out for a little while and just coming back in now. But Phoenix, Nando used to be the off-tank. I mean, Nando was so dominant in the meta when Brand used to add Cauterize, when Hot Pursuit was a card that could stack, allowing you to be a lot more aggressive. He's been out for so long, but Phoenix was able to kind of come back in with this Nando back in the off-tank position. Even with the changes, it's a very different playstyle, going with the shield cooldown plus the formidable heal when you get pressured. But he's able to come back in a completely different style and still look that strong on that champion.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a character that's brought out often. Most of the time you see it when no one else really is up on the board. But I mean, when you see it, you do love to see it. I mean, in this case, especially putting somebody like Phoenix onto that character, of course, that Nando's going to be a issue to deal with. And unfortunately, we're not unfortunately, but really just fortunate.
Unfortunately, we're going to be looking at the
Fortunately, we got to
maps.
get to the next map. Cut to the screen. Fortunately, we're going to get to the next map, which is Splitstone Quarry in this case. So, I mean, that's going to be cool. I mean, we don't see it as often anymore because I feel like some people mainly just try to ban that out. They don't want to deal with that map.
Yeah, it's another vertical map too, so kind of interesting, at least to me, that Renegades are going to want to go here after losing in a very similar style of map before, and also kind of leading in with a similar draft. They ban Ash this time to try to potentially get Khan. I'm assuming what's going to happen is Na'Vi will ban Atlas because they already banned Makoa. They can't really let Atlas go without having an answer. And then you're going to bring back you're bringing the Khan, and then Na'Vi will probably have to just kind of get their advantage DPS-wise. They could get their point tank a choice, but they're going to kind of be in the lead DPS-wise, I think, with the way these bans have gone for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Willow, Ashe are both being banned on Renegade sides, which is, they've been pretty much, no matter what, they've stuck out, like, literally, like, throughout this entire set. Willow, Ashe, they've got rid of Willow, they've got rid of Frontline after that, and Na'Vi has been sticking to Atlas Makoa this entire time. They left the con open, though, so in this right, RNG are going to want to take that for themselves.
Yeah, they're going to need it for how strong he is at controlling that quarry side, kind of pressuring that, having an overpower too. Na'Vi, I mean, after Lazy goes 8-1,
yeah,
you're going to want to give him that again, and it's literally other than the off-tank swap, it's an identical start for them. Strix did fantastic for them. Barrack did fantastic for them, bringing that back around. Going to be strong, especially considering the map is very similar in style of how it's played.
Yeah, I mean, once again, Barrack, Strix, these two characters, I mean, literally, it's looking a little bit similar to last game, of course, changed the first, well, never mind. Okay, looks like it's not as similar to last game in this case because they did lock Barrack Strix last time. Now they want the EV, now they want the Strix on Splitstone Quarry. So, out of curiosity, tell me a little bit as to why that is. I mean, is it because of the fact that, I mean, you can't pick snipers on here. We've seen Kanessa, we've seen Strix, we've seen both of them. Eevee, of course, having that mobility, being able to control near, I guess, bleachers would be able to call it, not the fidget spinner room, but up on top of that room. She's mainly over there, but why have such a
high priority?
High priority, yeah, for both Eevee and Strix immediately at the gate.
The Eevee's the one question mark. I think Strix is really good and definitely does things that Kanessa doesn't because of the speed of his ability to put out damage, as opposed to Kanessa, who has to charge for a while every single shot. Eevee is so good on this map that she's being played on console.
Right.
That's all I basically need to say about it. I mean, with a controller where it's kind of tougher to flick around and react to the shots and tougher to line up your blinks, it's still good enough to be played. The ability to blink over the wall, wormhole back out into complete safety, very, very impactful. Is it better than picking Barrack here? I don't think Eevee's that much better than Maeve where you need to prioritize it that highly, but I think Na'Vi, again, I think they just want to choke out the choices for Renegades. Just limit what they want to do, force them onto the champions that they've been beating basically all day.
Right, exactly. I mean, RNG, they're opting to go for the Maeve. They're opting to go for the Genos here. In this case, of course, Luminary buff for the Maeve is going to mean a lot. She gets to the either of those one-on-one engagement, whether it be Strix, whether it be Eevee. She's going to be able to pump out a lot more damage than before in this case. Na'Vi opting to go for their frontliners later on in the draft phase, which is completely okay. They already got the con. I guess they can sort of tell that RNG don't really want to afford to give them a lot of characters because of how flexible they are. So they're like, you know what? We could just lock it in later. We're not worried about the frontliners. We know they want the con. We know they want the Maeve, and I guess the Genos is just, you know, a supplement to that.
Honestly, I feel like if you could still see what characters are being hovered, I think Na'Vi would have taken Barrack there.
Oh, okay.
For real. I mean, I'm sorry. I think Renegades would have taken Barrack there because used to be that in draft you could see what the enemy was hovering when they swapped. Now only the people spectating can see that. The players won't be able to see the hovers from the other side. So, kind of limits, I guess, that like counterplay potential unless you have your coach telling you, which you really should not. Right. It's not a good habit to bring. So Na'Vi do get what they want. They get Damba. They get Barrack. Barrack's so powerful in Lazy's hands. Maeve and Genos, though, on the other side, it's going to be strong. They do have that 1v1 potential, but if the rest of the fight is being won, even if they lose the Eevee Maeve 1v1, the game is still going in Na'Vi's favor.
Yeah, I mean, already their composition is looking really good. You've got the Eevee, of course, for that high mobility, be able to pressure that back line. Strix as well. Damba, Barrack, I mean, that allows him to sit on the point for ages. He's already a slippery target as it is.
The next time you
add
see
on
my
that
banners,
healing, and it's already going to be looking pretty good. But the Ruckus, though?
Time to
Anar's
destroy
open.
our enemy.
Is that really something they want to do in this case?
Go first.
I think it's just to have more hit scans to deal with the Eevee. I feel like the Maeve is already kind of enough to do it, but they don't really have a lot of sustain in this composition. I feel they're going to want to end the fight as quickly as possible. Going to be tough, I think, against the tanks that Na'Vi are bringing to the table. If they pull out the Barrack, if they pull out, I mean, either Terminus or Nando, either way, it's going to be a good fight extender. I think they're kind of just going to hover over everything. I wouldn't be shocked to see Na'Vi end with the Drogos. I don't know if they have, I guess they would have to put Phoenix on Strix and then the Eevee Ninu,
They just
Mutu,
can't stay
Drovas if they
away
do that, but they're
from
going to go
me.
Nando instead. He has that Immortal to extend the fight a little bit longer, and the longer the fights are, the worse it's going to be for Renegades. Between Genos and 2 tanks that really can't sustain, as we saw earlier today with Kanga, it's going to be really hard for the tanks on Renegades to really do much of anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's Renegades has literally a game cut out for them, man. I mean, this is going to be an uphill battle. It already is in terms of sets, but now it's already hard enough as it is for them to even really try to win this game. In my personal opinion, on paper, it looks pretty bad. Casters, what do you guys think about these?
I think now is the time the Renegades buckle down, grab themselves a win, and start their reverse sweep. But it's going to have to start here on Splitstone Quarry. I don't know. It's tough. I think this is a monumental effort. Phoenix tore them apart on the Fernando in the last game, and he's obviously starting to show in if they win this game or win this set, something we'll be able to ask about. But he's fine, seemingly going Fernando. It's not like you're picking him out, forcing him onto the Fernando. He's A-okay.
I mean, it's so weird to see Fernando coming out now before Inara. No Inara coming through, and so this is actually where it's still interesting to me. Fernando can point tank. Same thing, you know, obviously Inara can point tank, Barrett can point tank. They're not probably going to need that too much here. The formidable choice here from Phoenix.
3, 2.
You're going to throw Hero down there on a con.
Battle has begun.
That's bad news bears. So I just don't see it going too well for him. They're going to try to control, I believe, Bleachers, maybe flank around and pick off Strix, but there's a lot of work cut out for them, a lot of work ahead of them, and they're going to have to do it all fighting from a deficit on the mid fight.
They go Con Ruckus. We saw how that played out for Kanga set number 1. Just didn't have the point tank presence. Yeah, sure, the off tank is there if you're able to stay aggressive. That's big if. Ninu zoning out Billion, backside of this fight. Moonchopper's found his way up above the bleachers, so he's at least safe from down below, but not up high, and that's what Ninu's looking to do here. Into the ice block, some good damage when he comes out. Phoenix, though, grabbing the first blood. That's not Ninu. Ninu got out alive. Hero is first blood in this game. They're not able to finish off the kill. Finally, Invocal hits some daggers. But Gormizer, 63% already for Natus Vincere.
Yeah, this is the issue. Moonchopper has to dive down and give his life away if he wants to get overtime. The same thing has to go for Hero. They don't have the draft to play against Na'Vi and Na'Vi's style. And I mean, when you are the 8th place team going up against number 1, you got to figure that out a little faster. Spunky going down, though, definitely opens up the door, but you need more kills. You need to get Ninu. You need to get Mutu. You need to just get rid of Na'Vi and take this point.
There's a double kill. The door's open for a minute because Spunky, the healer for Natus Vincere, died, but Mutu's able to flip that one back, even if he goes down, which Hero sees to it that he does. There's nothing left for the Renegades in this mid. The defense is going to have to get them their first point. Damage dealt, toss it to Lazy. Not something we're too unused to seeing. Hey, second damage dealt. Give it to Phoenix as well.
Phoenix not doing too much on the shielding front. He's going to need to pick that one up. 480 damage shielded is, you know, come on, Phoenix.
Because he's doing too much damage. He's second damage in the game.
You're 3-0. You're forgetting your role here as he comes through. He's doing a lot, and I think that's the biggest thing. It's just his loadout vibes with this really well. Mutu has a long range advantage. Unless Invocal's able to get to him, Shadow doesn't seem to be in the zone right now to be trying to win a boxing match with a Strix. And these tanks, I mean, I'm probably going to feel like I'm going to say this, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but they don't do anything on the objective. They win you fights on the side, but if they're not doing that, they're not doing anything.
Phoenix, same loadout. Worked last game. Why not do some more of it here? It's good for a great slash line for him. Vocal, Undying up to this point, just got killed off for the first time. Midnight got him a couple kills. And their Shadow from the high ground, tossing his hat in as well. That's a good example of why Barrack does so much damage. Just plugged away a couple of shots, forced Leon back. Granted, it's a squishy target. Belazy, one of the best to do it in the point tank category. Not super surprising to see him close to the top, especially on Barrack.
Shadow over here with Moonchopper, Viral. Trying to hold the right angle. Very good angle to kind of keep your eyes on top of the payload, but again, you're getting one kill. You do get the support for everything, but you're trading out
Shadow,
almost as much as you get.
Well, you're leaning on Shadow to try to save this defense. A triple kill from the Leon. Sorry, Invocal, you're gonna get burned away. One more tick would have done it. Maybe 2 more. Back up to healthy thanks to Viral. Lazy's pushing this payload the entire time, drops the dome shield to keep himself alive, let his teammates get back into this fight. Once that expires, Renegade's looking to dive Ninu, ice blocking out, Immortal as well. For Phoenix, Dread Serpent, everything flying from Natus Vincere here. They're trying to end this game quickly. Hero dead. Payload continuing its march forward. Some good shots from Viral helping Vocal find the first blood, but Lazy on the barrack. He's doing it. He's keeping this payload moving forward.
I mean, that Dome Shield made sure they didn't lose any ground, and if Ninu can keep picking up kills, they isolate Shadow, get rid of him. No one's been fighting back as hard as he has, and Vocal's been able to pick up a couple kills, so he'll be the next biggest target, but these tanks are dropping like flies, and as long as they continue hitting their shots, I don't see him lasting too much longer.
Vocal killing Lazy is so important in this one. Lazy had the previous 3 kills on this defensive engagement. Moonchopper's alive, catches a flare. Great shots there from Mutu, might not be enough. Shadow's back from base, 2 kills, looking for 3. Too much mobility from Ninu, but that's just enough to keep the Renegades in it.
I don't even care. You know what? Get your defensive point. It doesn't matter. Mutu just styled on you. Mutu came in guns blazing, ready for that one. But Shadow was able to stall it out. It's actually moments like this, a triple kill right here, perfect timing. I mean, 50 seconds left on the clock. You're able to isolate them, make them spend about 10 to 15 seconds respawning and coming back. You force the Dome Shield out of Lazy because of it.
Right.
And so you kind of tweak all these little factors that end up helping you towards the end. So Shadow, I think, playing just as much of a role as his 6-3-3 slash line does kind of signify. And if you get those kind of moments where, even though it's not intended, there's a ripple effect from it, though. From 2 more players, I think, out of the Renegades for this game, they have a good shot at winning it.
3. These big mid-round ultimates are going to be important. First of which being through time and space. Kills equal to his cooldown, 0. Natus Vincere, 18%. Hero has the overpower. Instant death if he tosses him into the Beyblade. Chunking out damage, though, not in a good spot to use the overpower, and this is apparently the power of a Fernando. He's just straight up bullying Hero in the back line of the Renegades, and Phoenix is still alive. 48% for Natus Vincere, no offense yet from the Renegades, and Vocal falls down first. Moonchopper's gonna have to dive in. Into stealth goes Mutu, back around the corner. Lazy rocket boots in, Moonchopper dead. Natus Vincere, 66% kills all in their corner, and they're looking good for their second point.
So talking about small moments, this is gonna sound really nitpicky, but it's these moments that make the difference. Hero is getting chased out by Phoenix, and he dashes left towards his base instead of right towards Moonchopper. If he dashes right there, turns around, overpowers, you kill Phoenix in the lava. That is the kind of play you have to have your mind on. You have to think about those moments more than anything, because Phoenix stays alive through that engagement. Your overpower is still charged up. You didn't get to use your ult. That's a free kill onto a tank. You just have to get into the right position. And those are the moments where Renegades they trip. They just don't think of them in the moment. I'm not saying I'd do any better if I were in this position. Facing Na'Vi is the most difficult thing you can do. But you have to kind of figure those out and kind of crack them when they're available to you. Otherwise, it comes out way too late.
Well, that's the benefit we get, Goremizer. We get to
we
sit
see everything.
back, we get to lean back, kind of analyze everything, and pretend like we would do any better in that scenario. These guys, regardless of outcomes, still some of the best in the world. We are not. Doesn't mean we can't identify it, though. 1.5 on the payload push remaining. Renegades, 4 ultimates ready. Only a Hexifier down. Natus Vincere very close to converting their last payload push. We'll look to bring this one to 3. Midnight drops down. Phoenix with the first blood, and Vocal answers back. Viral spreading out the healing so well. Vocal missing the last volley of daggers. Ice Storm goes down from Ninu, does a little bit of healing. Not too much, though. Checkerboard, top to bottom. Renegades, though, worse for wear. They are respawning a little bit closer, but if Natus Vincere look to push this, good flick shot from Shadow. Eevee dead. Payload still moving forward.
And this just stands by the statement. You take these members of Renegades, you slice them up, like, it's 5 great players. They just don't seem to mesh. Something's going off. Like, I don't know what it is behind the scenes, or if there is anything behind the scenes. Maybe it's just the way they play.
I think that might literally be it.
Doesn't seem to connect, and sometimes it just happens.
I mean, I think they're all, well, they're not to dive too much into the behind-the-scenes stuff. It literally could just be play styles not meshing. We have seen some of the brightest moments from the Renegades beating Na'Vi last time they met. One of the biggest upsets we've had probably in the PPL this year. Unable to replicate that here today unless they win the next 4 straight. Vocal is dead for 5 more seconds, so this is a good spot for Natus Vincere. They seem to think so as well. As Lazy picks up the dome shield onto the high ground, zoning out Shadow. A couple more shots. Kills Leon, but doesn't happen. Ninu is going to have to finish it off with a good blink. Spunky drops out the Dread Serpent. Ninu and Mutu doing the legwork here. Moonchopper from the high ground is nice and safe. No damage being returned in onto him. Overtime being reset. Spunky gets the kill onto Hero. This Viral is spreading out the healing yet again, but not enough to keep Moonchopper alive. Shadow and Viral, though, they're still alive towards the end. Pull it back to 2-2.
And there's a lot of things going on for the Renegades during that last fight to get that defense. Viral, I think, is the linchpin of it all. He's the thing holding it all together to make sure that everything goes smoothly. I mean, he's getting a ton of damage, good healing, and he's distracting. I mean, a lot of people are looking for him, and he's turning it on their head. And so, again, you get these moments where he is kind of keeping them afloat in the water. He is the safety net right now that is helping Renegades not fall too far behind Na'Vi. And I will say the one thing that's helping them out that might not have been in consideration considering the pick order, but Khan kind of having that ever-present threat of resetting Fernando's cooldown on his shield has made it a little more difficult for Phoenix to feel comfortable in those clutch scenarios, to pop his shield up to save his life, because he knows it's just going to get knocked down.
Well, of the 2 ultimates, through time and space and overpower, only one of them connects, and that's through time and space for Viral. Overpower goes surging back to 40%, well 30, charged back up to 40 now. Here's some aggression, though, from the front lines of the Renegades, able to force themselves through. Immortal, though, for Phoenix, keeps the rest of them alive. As Ninu playing in the low ground there. And for once, the Renegades find themselves a great mid-fight. Mitigate a lot of the presence that Natus Vincere had. And able to return that into 57% for themselves on the mid.
And a really good dismount there from Invocal.
Yep.
Being able to find that on the Lazy stops him from getting to the objective any faster. They're standing on the point. They have 81%. This is the first time in a long time they have felt themselves in control. That was a good long range.
Did you see the little snake flies through the air? It just connects onto Hero. Unbelievable from Spunky. Throws it from downtown, drops back, connects with his receiver. Unfortunately for Hero, he's on the opposite team. Big mid-fight there. Natus Vincere set up perfectly by Spunky.
What are the odds he threw that out and went 3?
Knowing
he kind of knew it was going to connect.
Knowing Spunky, probably pretty good. I think he's playing his odds. I think he probably says it every time and hopes that one connects. Natus Vincere just needs step on the point.
Wow.
Spunky does it, waits for the overtime to expire. Beautiful play there by him. That is so funny watching it from the player angle that we had, where you just see the little blob fly across the screen, connects with...
No Maltamba in sight. There's just a snake going, whee!
Hey, that's why he's one of the best in the world. Natus Vincere 1 point away from ending this set. Renegades looking to continue the defensive dominance that they've had throughout to keep themselves alive.
This is one of those moments where, like, I would love multi-angle replays. Like, I want Spunky's perspective. I want Hero's perspective. I want to see it from the snake's perspective.
Yeah, right. Can we get
I
in
want
the
to know
snake?
every
Snake
single
cam?
line of sight that you can have for that. I don't know how many of those are physically possible to get, but that's just such a good throw. And, yeah, again, small moment, it's a stun in the grand scheme of things. What could that mean? That wins them back the point.
Yep.
Wow.
Big moment there for Spunky. And again, I mean, it's a small moment, but Natus Vincere now set point. Whether they do it on this offensive push, maybe they get one more shot at a mid. Renegades, again, have looked good on the defense. So much of it on the back end of this man here, Shadow. Double kill right now to stall things out, but too much pressure still. Ninu and Lazy are going to help clean him up. And the mobility. Ninu hasn't had the flashiest plays this game, but the mobility he's shown just in a few moments there really show why he deserves to be on this Natus Vincere lineup. 6 streak for him, 5 streak for Lazy. You'll be happy with that. Payload inching closer, unable to find its way home yet in this game. Renegades might have to use some ultimates to keep things moving.
And at this point, Immortal's up, flashbangs up. You don't have a lot to work with if you're Na'Vi to close this out. You're hoping in the next 40 seconds to maybe find the damage necessary to charge up the rest of that dome shield and maybe get that Dread Serpent. But Mutu just doesn't care. He's going to go ahead and get aggressive.
He had no more ammo on his pistol, so he swapped back to the sniper at double body shot. Unlucky that doesn't convert the frontliners for Natus Vincere. The last two left in range. Peeling way back here. Some good daggers, some good mobility from Invocals. 10 seconds left. Ninu maybe he's going to get a touch. Begin overtime, but I don't see a world where this doesn't go to .7. So, you know, if nothing else, Gore, this is a good fight back from the Renegades, showing that there's still some fight left there.
Ooh,
nice
that
Void
was
Grip
really good.
prevents him from getting the touch from Viral. And now 1 point away. Either the set is over or the Renegades win their first game this week and give themselves another chance, maybe in Game 5.
I mean, at the end of the day, the one thing to look forward to for them is the fact that they have absolutely gotten more points today than they did yesterday. But that is about
I'm the chair
all
one,
they've
Gore.
been
I'm
able to
supposed
knock
to be
down.
spitting 100% truths. You're not wrong.
But, I mean, coming into this round, after that last mid, it's just
Yeah, I don't know.
mentally draining. Like,
mids.
this is going to be a very difficult one to win. They got aggressive, though, last time. They kind of figured
Yeah.
out what they needed to do.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a key to that, but they have to do it right. Like, they have to get the right targets at the beginning, like, aggressive push, or else it might just fall through. And admittedly, it was also a through time and space that connected on the Mutu that helped that.
Can't count on that every time. But you also can't count on a errant snake from catching Hero from long range. Overpower for Hero, doesn't get the kill. Immortal from Phoenix saves the life. Front lines for Natus Vincere starting to win the day again. Viral trying to kite backwards, but burning away at the hands of the Fernando. A triple kill from Mutu forces back the Renegades. One more shot for 4, and that may have just won Natus Vincere the set.
I mean, being able to set it up, it was 18-18 when that closes out, but Na'Vi are in control. Spunky's going to be able to get healing up top, down low, pretty much anywhere anyone might need it. They do have a Hexafire. They do have through time and space.
They have a chance.
Well, now one of them's gone without any returns.
Lazy's dead. Can you get out alive? They say yes. Shadow and Invocal now combining for 2. Spunky on the point. 87%, no fast cap. Phoenix still alive. How deeply does he get staggered out? Good fight back from the Renegades, choosing their time to strike. Midnight is left as well. Only ultimate left back in this game. They're crossing 51% now. Next fight wins. Renegades trying to keep their set lives alive. Natus Vincere trying to end it. Mutu up on the high ground looking for some shots.
I'm just happy to see Hero win for the touch. Is able to get overtime, but it's 99-69 here, and they're trying to hold on to whatever they can.
What? Well, he just stepped off at the point. Spunky can't believe it either.
Yeah.
The fight begins. I think that was Hero who just backed off slightly. Fireworks was in the cards, and Fireworks just doused out by water. Confusing end of this set. The Renegades just toe off the point just too long. Overtime was there, but they weren't able to contest. Midnight was burning away as well.
That's the most Renegades loss that I think I've ever seen for that.
That is tough.
I mean, you know, rewind back to Serpent Beach. You're getting a lot of good fights. You kill Lazy, you get this zone. Nobody stood on the objective. No one was paying attention to the objective. You see that come through here. You have to keep those timers in mind. You have to keep your positioning in mind. One dash off, one step off at 99%. Conceal your fate.
Here's me building up. Midnight comes out.
There's
Team's
supposed
about
to be
clash.
another 30 seconds of fight there. I'm telling you. There was...
Oh, no.
And in any replay, any other team, there's 30 seconds more of fighting going on where you just end it now for that map. But as this one...
I'm sad. That hurts the heart. You
puffed
know I
out.
love, you
You
know I
lit
love
the
the
fuse for
Renegades,
the
boys.
firecrackers, you throw it up, and then it just...
Let's
the
see what
fuse
happened.
went out.
Let's see what happened there towards the end. You know, fireworks starting to build up. Don't want to put a microscope on any one person particularly. So it's
where did he
Hero
go?
on the point. So he gets the touch here. Shield goes
Lazy
up.
comes back in. He dashes away.
93, 96, 99. Battle Shout gets in, gets the touch. So overtime begins. Forced back at 80% health.
Na'Vi played them so well. Look at this. The overtime timer going down. None of them touch. And because the overtime timer is going down like that,
Yeah.
all of Shadow and Vocal and whoever dancing on the objective doesn't mean anything. It's still their overtime that's going down. Once that timer disappears, Lazy goes, boop.
Yeah,
and wins the entire thing for them.
So nobody was standing on the point, and then Lazy just secured things up.
And it's
not?
actually Na'Vi. Like, the reason they win is less on Renegades not paying enough attention. It's because Lazy had the presence of mind to stand 3 feet away from it for a second, watches the timer go down. And as long as you're not both on there, you're not contesting, so it doesn't reset the timer.
Well, those are micro moments that you look at. Na'Vi securing themselves. Big brain plays. Find them the 4-0 win. Desk. Unbelievable.
Yeah, we're probably just about as devastated as everyone is right now at this current moment in time. Man, oh man. I mean, I'm sitting here, hands on my face. Kresnik's like,
You want to talk about it, man?
I'm sad for him, man. I mean, it was still a good play. I mean, everyone definitely did what they needed to. It was possibly the best opportunity that they could probably present themselves with, but it just so happened to literally slip right out of their hands. Like, it literally right between their fingers at that point, man. But I mean, once again, no disrespect to Na'Vi whatsoever. They played phenomenally. We see Lazy top damaging on his team, on top of the fact that Shadow with 118,000 right after that. Mutu pulled up the 95K. Ninu pulled up the 83. I mean, Phoenix, of course, no slouch, 76 himself. But the slash lines itself are what tell the story right now for both of these teams.
Yeah, for sure. Again, the tanks they ended up with on Renegades made it rough to sustain, kind of rotate on the point like they needed to. And harder enough to get on this Strix. I mean, Mutu applying so much pressure. This is why Strix is such an early priority. And Eevee was picked with Strix from the beginning, and you can kind of see the impact that both of these DPSs had. I mean, this flank from Mutu, I think this is 3-3, so this must have been the quadra he got. So hard to deal with them. So much damage comes out of the Strix when you hit your flares, when you hit your quickscopes, and Mutu's definitely not a player to miss those.
Right, yeah. I mean, you already see that we've got the quadra cure right there for the Mutu. This is why you can pick these snipers on here. This is why you can feel the Mutu. The Mutu. Put that as a title. Give that title to him, regardless of the case. He is doing really, really well on the Strix. I mean, this is why you bring out the Strix. This is why you can bring out the Canessa. You have definitely these power picks, but I feel like Strix in that scenario, being able to actually bring out that pistol, being able to pop somebody, have that a lot of damage out there on the board, just out there in the field, and then swapping the pistol, being able to execute pretty much a lot of those kills back to back to back. I mean, that's a good look, not only for Strix, but also for Mutu.
Yeah, especially you have to play around your team when you're doing like that. He kind of had him in the quarry, but always near his tanks, always being protected and allowed to fire from this close range area. Even being so close to Khan and the Ruckus, they were just never able to cross because of the protection that his team was granting him.
Well, I mean, a heartbreaking loss for Renegades. However, the thing is that we do have the winners already on standby from Natus Vincere, Spunky and Lazy.
Well, it's a heartbreaking loss for the Renegades, but that means it's a heart-mending win for you guys. I don't know what the flip side is, but big 4-0 for you. You know, we were kind of discussing it back and forth. You might be just as maybe confused as we were. What was kind of going through your minds at that last mid-fight there on Splitstone Quarry? You kind of step off, you're stepping on, and you end up winning the game.
There was a lot of confusion going on because also the midnight from the Mave coming in. We didn't even realize it ourselves. Like we all of a sudden we won, and we weren't even sure like if they capped it or something. So we just kind of looking at each other like, okay, what just happened there?
That guess we win now. Okay, Spunky, there's a point where it actually looks like Renegades are going to capture one of those objectives during Splitstone Quarry. We had the glorious sight from watching it from Mutu's perspective, but just out of lower comes flying a snake, lands on Hero, and kind of turns that fight around. You are one of the essential Maldamba players at this point. Do you know when you throw a stun like that they're going to connect, or is it just kind of hoping every single time?
Sometimes it's pure luck. You just try to throw the stun somewhere that it will hit somebody, and now it hit actually. I didn't even know that it hit. I just hear, can't stun on point, dead. Okay.
That's the summary of Splitstone Quarry is we were confused, but we ended up winning the game, and that's what's important there. Lazy, the kind of shift in the frontline meta is something that we've noted over the last couple of days. Obviously, the first few PPL games on this new patch. You've kind of stuck with the Inara Barrack. That's, you know, you're one of the best in the world there. Of course, Phoenix flexing on to the Fernando. Is Fernando kind of in a spot where maybe you pick him up as a point tank, or does he really excel maybe more as kind of that aggressive off tank right now?
I mean, well, before Fernando got nerfed, he was a point tank back in the days when Envy won the World Championship. So yeah, it is coming back pretty much to point tank if you have to, because the shield is actually like 6 seconds cooldown on the shield is really strong, especially for a point tank. So it is definitely something we're gonna be seeing in the future, besides playing Barrack and Inara all the time there.
So I want to roll it back a few weeks. You know, end of week 1. Everyone's kind of surprised because you weren't the one sitting here after you faced the Renegades. Renegades came through. Did that play anything into today's, like, with your mindset, into the prep? Like, were you kind of remembering that 4-2 and just doing anything in your power to stop that from happening again?
I mean, I will admit, the first map, when we lost the first point, I'm like, oh yeah, here we go again. But after that, it just came to us again. Like from our match against Envy yesterday, we had the same kind of mojo, like we're figuring out, and it's really working out now. So it started like being better, getting better and better.
I think after we got Nino instead of creatives, we kind of got our minds reset. So that helped as well.
Well, the reset's good for you guys. 4-0 week, 4-0 yesterday, 4-0 today. Not a bad way to be. Appreciate you guys for the time. Stick around, everyone. We got one more set to end the day.
The Paladins Premier League is brought to you by Evil Mojo, developers of Paladins.
We're here live from Atlanta. The players are here. The stage is set. Let's get down for esports!
This is where we also talk about the new stuff that we've got coming out for you all.
Look, HRX is literally my favorite time of year. It truly isn't close. This is what I live for.
If that's second place, I can't wait to see what first place is.
It is HRX.